Hello, 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 beautiful humans. It's Monday. Whew, it's only the start of the week, so here I am to give you a little dose of everyday magic, get you going for the week. So, how are we doing, everybody? I am Fairy King Oberon, and welcome to the Fairy Realm. How's everybody's Monday doing? Are we off work? Hopefully. Are we excited? Are we excited for what this new week holds for us? So, today, we are talking about Mortal Kombat. I'm going to discuss some of the Polyam Cult Party, and I'm going to talk about Falcon and Winter Soldier. So, let's get started. So, with that being said, let's talk about Mortal Kombat. How did we feel about Mortal Kombat? Did we like it? Was it enough combat? Did we care about any of the characters? How are we doing? So, for me, I'm not really the biggest Mortal Kombat fan of the video game franchise, but I do believe that the movie was good for like an average view. A couple things I didn't really understand. Who is Cole Young, the main character? Is he in the games? Because I don't believe I've seen him. And then, was Reptile that giant reptile, not human person that was in Sonya Blade's house? Because I thought Reptile was supposed to be a ninja like Sub-Zero and Scorpion, which is kind of like green. So I really didn't understand that much. And then it's like the two other characters, I didn't really know who they were. Like the girl with the wings, like, is she anything? Because I don't think I've seen her. And then the guy with the giant hammer, who wasn't Shao Kahn. He was just somebody else. But the effects were pretty good, I will say. The effects were really, really good for what it was. I did like the details that they gave to the fatalities. Those were amazing. And but some of the writing kind of was a little bit cheesy, just a little bit. I mean, it could have been written a little bit better. Truthfully, I felt like maybe they should have just kept the focus on Hanzo, who becomes Scorpion. And maybe we could have got a movie where it was his origins from that point of Sub-Zero's character killing his family and killing him. Maybe we could have had like him going through hell, seeing all that, seeing what happens there. Because those stories might have been a little bit more interesting because, again, who the heck is Cole Young? Like, also maybe like if Cole Young would have been possessed by Scorpion because he's an ancestor and becomes a new Scorpion, maybe that could have been something instead of just making this character with mildly weird powers and weird absorption armor, which I didn't really understand. And then he had like the two weapons, which, okay, it's Mortal Kombat, I can get that. I can get down with that. But it's just like everything else is kind of like, And then one good part of the movie, I will say, was the character of Kano. He was hilarious throughout the whole thing. I really appreciated his comedy work and whatnot. And then we had Liu Kang, who was played by, I believe, Ludi Lin from the Power Rangers reboot. So that's Liu Kang for you guys. And then we had Raiden, of course, but he couldn't really battle in the affairs of the battles themselves. And Sonya Blade, of course, and she looked pretty good. She looked very represented in the video game gear. It was very similar to early Sonya Blade, like Mortal Kombat 1 gear. It was just the green with the black pants, and I kind of liked it. And then you had Jax, who, of course, got his metal arms. But my thing with that was when each hero got their dragon symbol, they were also supposed to unlock a special magic or arcana. So my thing is what's Jax's arcana? Like, if his arms never got ripped off, would his arms still have become metal? Because like Liu Kang had fire, Kano had a laser eye beam, Sonya Blade had her like energy ring she could just shoot out, and then Cole had like that weird absorbing armor that could absorb damage. So it was just like, was Jax's to get metal arms the whole time? And then it's like the story seemed a little bit rushed, but I'm excited that they could always make a part two and work a little bit better and maybe flesh out the characters more. But like I was saying, I think if they would have like focused on just maybe Scorpion and Sub-Zero and made it a Scorpion origin or a Scorpion Sub-Zero origin, and then the next movie could have been introducing the modern day Earth Warriors, maybe that could have been good. But yeah, it was okay for what it was. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the video game franchise, but I'm not like hurt about the movie either. Like some people are like, oh, my favorite character wasn't in it, so I can't watch it. Well, there's clearly going to probably be a second one with probably the introduction of Johnny Cage, so look out for that. Now, when will that happen? Who knows? Because I don't. And it will probably be in theaters by then. Hopefully all this coronavirus stuff will be over and we won't have to deal with it anymore. But yeah, that's just kind of some of my thoughts on Mortal Kombat. So let's get into talking about MV Young's Polycult Party 3, which was an amazing show, which I actually watched on Twitch. It was on Go Professionals Wrestling Twitch. So, oh yeah, okay. Sorry, I'm typing as I'm going. Live show, folks. Okay. Trying to see if I can find the match card. Because it was like a 5-hour show, and I believe I missed like a match or two because I was watching a streamer and then we raided into it, and it was still pretty good. But they had They had MV Young versus Jody the Wrestler, which was an amazing show for the Wrestling Labs Championship, and it was just a story of back and forth action with MV being the bigger, more aggressive, but Jody not wanting to give up and quit. Wait, where is my mouse? Okay, live show, folks. Where is this card at? I should look for this earlier. Yeah, and then it had, in the main event, we saw Ziggy Hyam versus David Lawless, which was for the Rise Championship. And it was an amazing, coming out party for Ziggy Hyam. She won the Rise Championship in the final match, in the rain, outside, in a backyard. Is this the card? Hold on. I'm going to try to find the card so I can go match by match. And then what I want to do is ask on Twitter if I can show some matches on Wednesday. Is this the card? Ooh, okay. Yeah, so, and then they had Big Calix. He was supposed to go against PB Smooth, but I guess PB couldn't get there or something, so he went against the Masked Luchador, the Bird, and it's a hilarious encounter, so you definitely should watch it. Let me see. Just trying to find the card so I can go match by match. Ooh, okay, yeah. And then it had Washington Heights, who's a drag queen, and son of New Jack. Yes, that New Jack from ECW, that crazy old man, New Jack. She was performing for the intermission, which was really, really cool. Just seeing a wrestling show that had a drag queen just performing, rapping, and just keeping everybody entertained. It was just really good. Where is just the card itself? Well, anyway, and then they had a scramble match, which is like a Royal Rumble and a scramble. So two people start, and every certain 30 seconds, 90 seconds, a new person comes in. But instead of Rumble rules where you gotta be thrown over the top to get eliminated, you get eliminated by pinfall or submission. So, as chaotic as it sounds, it really, really was. And it was an amazing match. It had Danny Moe. It had a lot of people in it. That's it. And then Alley Cat, who recently turned heel, is now going by Allison Catch, and she wrestled and just destroyed. What was her name? Molly McCool. That was a match. Like, she dumped that girl on her head a couple times. It was crazy to see. So yeah, I'm gonna ask if I can view like some matches on Twitter, and then I'll probably have matches to actually show on Wednesday. Because Wednesday at 6 p.m. I will be doing wrestling watch-alongs every Wednesday. So you can drop submissions in my Discord, and then we can get some match suggestions going, and that'll be every Wednesday. And then also, apparently last night, TNA Impact had Rebellion, which I didn't even know it was on. I really have gotten away from Impact, and that's no fault to them. It's just, it's really hard to view sometimes. It's on Twitch now, but it's like still kind of hard to view. So Kenny Omega is now a 3 or 4 belt, depending, champion because he has the AEW title and the AAA title, and he did in fact beat Rich Swann for the Impact Wrestling title, but Rich Swann also had the old TNA Heavyweight Championship that he won for Moose, which when they unified, they just kept 2 belts, I guess. I don't know. It seems that way. So yeah. So that happened last night. And then in the Knockouts division, Jordynne Grace and her mystery partner became the new Knockouts Tag Team Champions. And her mystery partner was none other than Rachel Ellering, who was formerly of NXT and the Mae Young Classic. So that's kind of nice to be in a debut match in a new company and win some tag titles. You know, go for her. Other Knockouts action saw Deonna Purrazzo versus Tenille Dashwood. I almost said Emelina. Tenille Dashwood. And Deonna Purrazzo won. And after the win, out came Taylor Wilde. So that is right. Taylor Wilde is back in Impact Wrestling. She is one of the OG Knockouts. She was there in the very beginning with Gail and Awesome Kong and ODB. And to see her finally back in a wrestling ring is kind of exciting. X Division news. Josh Alexander is the new X Division champion. He defeated TJP and Ace Austin. So yeah, it was just... Apparently TNA put on a really, really good show. Excuse me, Impact. I'm such a mark because I grew up when they were in TNA. Like, 6-sided ring, TNA, total nonstop action. That's like the nostalgia for me. And then in regular tag team action, FinJuice retained their tag team titles. So it was a good show top to bottom. It wasn't really, promoted by any AEW standards because Tony Khan has come out and said that he's promoting AEW on Impact by paying for it. And if Impact wanted to be promoted on AEW, they had to pay for it themselves. Which is just like, Impact really is not getting anything out of this deal. And I'm afraid Kenny Omega is just going to have all these titles. He's going to lose his AEW title. And then he's just maybe going to vacate the other titles. Which that doesn't help any of the companies he's currently belt collecting from. Like, I think what needs to happen is Kenny Omega needs to have like a multi-man feud with people, top stars from each company, and maybe at like the next big AEW pay-per-view, not the next one, but maybe like the one after the next one, he could have a Kenny Omega night where he defends every single championship on the card until all the matches are done. No belts are all belts. Let's see what you got. I think that'd be interesting. But yeah, so going back to the Paul Am cult party, I'm really, really excited because I'm going to ask MB on Twitter if I can like show a match or two on Wednesday. So Wednesday, definitely be here. And then 7 o'clock on Wednesday, Ring of Honor is starting a new women's division show. So that is 7 p.m. and I'm not sure if it's still called the Women of Honor because of all the controversy with that and their title, but I know Maria's kind of either kayfabe in charge or behind the scenes in charge. So it's going to eventually lead to the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship Tournament. So they might show it on that Wednesday show, or they might show highlights from whenever they do it. So, but yeah, Wednesday will definitely be an interesting time for women's wrestling in Ring of Honor, at least. So, real quick, now we are going to transition into Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So, I have pulled up an Easter egg. Like, the guys found all the Easter egg. So, we're going to watch this, and then we're going to discuss what we think about it. Because I have thoughts, I have opinions. Here we go.
New Rockstars, I'm Eric Voss, and this is a breakdown of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 6, the finale, One World, One People, in which Captain America...
Okay, so real quick, I haven't watched this yet, so the points he's making might match with mine or might disagree, but we'll see. So, just a little disclaimer.
Sam Wilson dresses up in home team whites, U.S. Agent John Walker is back in black, and Sharon Carter did to my theories what she did to that Flag Smasher's face. Look, folks, my favorite part of this has always been to just go back through the episodes and point out all the interesting details that you might have missed. And this finale is filled with little stuff that you can gnaw on, like Sarah's tiny potato slices or Zemo's gross Turkish delights. Okay, we open on the Flag Smasher's disruption of the GRC vote. Actually, Carly's voiceover here is actually the same line that she spoke in Latvia last episode.
They're not going to stop. Not unless we make them. It's time.
Now, Erin Kellerman was more emotional then. Now they use an alternate take where she sounded more resolute and firm. Then a little moment with Bucky that I love. Sergeant Barnes. Nice. This officer respects Bucky's service and his rank, telling us that some people in this world really do learn from history.
Okay, Sergeant Barnes, I can get with it.
When Isaiah's history will later become
if anyone's in the chat, how does it sound?
Mesh face mask that Natasha used in Winter Soldier. It also appeared in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, while you could see Sharon's suspicious behavior in the post-credit scene as a setup for Secret Invasion, this mask to me signals that she herself is probably not going to be a Skrull, because then she wouldn't really need that kind of cloaking tech, right? But then again, apparently no one cares about Sharon's past history, so whatever. Notice how the Flag Smashers use these smoke grenades that glow green? And then Sharon talks about her deadly mercury vapor. She says, among other things, that she uses on that Flag Smasher, that emits a green smoke. And then those locks that they use on the truck doors have 8 claws, and they're strong. They take several strikes of Bucky's vibranium arm to break. Remember, Batroc supplied this gear courtesy of Sharon after she hired him. And Sharon called someone on the phone in the post-credit scene.
Super soldiers might be off the menu, but we're about to have full access to government secrets, prototype weapons, you name it.
Thinking one of Sharon's trading partners and the source of this tech could be Oscorp. Normally, I'm hesitant to lean on Spider-Man villains like Green Goblin, Norman Osborn in my MCU theories, since all of those are Sony properties, and Marvel can really only do so much with them in non-Spider-Man titles, but Sony did just sign a deal with Disney Plus that makes that kind of future IP sharing a bit more likely. And by something for everyone, Sharon might mean a team of weapons tech manufacturers known for green glowing grenades. A weapon used by...
Hold on. Is it not showing up? Let me see. Oh, okay. It is. Sorry. No. Don't. No. Go back. No, not Hulu movie. Okay. Okay, there we go. Sorry, everyone.
Armed reinforced metal gear that you can see someone like Doc Ock putting together. And this comes within a week of Alfred Molina talking about his role as Doc Ock in Spider-Man No Way Home. But before I continue, thank you to Vessi Shoes for sponsoring this video. Vessi makes these knit sneakers that are 100% waterproof and snowproof. They're super breathable, so they don't let any liquid in, but they do let the air move out. Winter snow, no biggie. Spring mud, not concerned. Summer rain showers, well, might ruin my elaborate picnic plans, but they will not make my feet wet. Vessi shoes are super stretchy. They fit like a sock. They only weigh 175 grams, which is way less than the cheese log I've made for my picnic. And they're made with this cool Dymatex material that keeps your feet warm in cold weather and cool in warm weather, and it's super easy to clean with just a rinse of water. when the weather's nice, I like to lounge by the pool. But sometimes I'm lounging too much and plunk.
Kerplunk.
But hey, wouldn't you know it? Thanks to these Vessi knit sneakers, my little piggies are bone dry. Thanks, Vessi. Surrey in the pool suit. These are some truly everyday shoes. No matter the weather of your activities, these shoes are perfect for you. This is the perfect gift for you and your loved ones, especially for the upcoming rainy season. Get them while they still have sizes, and you can thank me later. Check them out in the link below and use my code NEWROCKSTARS to get $25 off your Vessi shoes. So Sam Wilson swoops in with his new suit. Yeah, now the music here evokes the Steve Rogers cap theme, but it is a variant that is unique to Sam. This suit's largely white design reflects Sam's look in the comics when he
Wow,
becomes Cap.
that's good.
The half cowl. That shield magnetically latches to his back like it did with Steve. And Sam being in white here creates an interesting contrast with U.S. Agent John Walker.
It's the same, but black.
Sam as a black man in a role historically seen as a white man. Walker as a white man now donning the archetypal black hat. But Sam does not leave us guessing.
I'm sorry, wait, who are you?
Captain America.
I thought Captain America was on the moon.
Yeah, the guy calls back Torres' conspiracy theory that Steve Rogers was on the moon. This series never gave us an answer as to what happened with old Cap from Endgame. Kind of treated the mystery as more of a joke because I guess these Disney Plus shows can only do so much MCU world building. But for now, I'm just gonna go with Cap is in space with Nick Fury.
Oh,
So
gosh.
as GRC diplomats are evacuated, listen to this voice blaring over the PA system.
Groups 1 and 2 will leave from secure vehicles in the basement. Group 3 will leave via air support on the roof.
Maybe don't announce this while terrorists have infiltrated the freaking building. Like, imagine if that happened at the Capitol. Actually, maybe don't mentally
Stop
do
that.
what the Flag Smashers are doing on January 6th. Just don't. A Flag Smasher hands Bucky a phone with Carly calling via that Flag Smashers app, the app that Bucky will later use to track the Flag Smashers. They must have thought a 6-year-old man couldn't work. Yeah, they thought wrong. Carly asks Bucky,
I'm fighting for something bigger than myself. Have you ever been able to say the same?
You don't think I ever fought for something bigger than myself? That's all I ever tried to do. And I failed twice.
yeah, Bucky fought freaking Thanos, you dummy! His 2 losses may refer to his losses in Infinity War and in World War II. You could argue, though, I don't really know if it's fair to say he lost that. Really,
Yeah.
every fight this dude fights has been over something bigger than himself. Sam subdues Batroc by kick-flipping the shield and then tossing it out the window, first to break it, before swooping back out to catch it. This is also kind of how he had to enter the building, by smashing the window with the shield first. See, those condits just given him a vibranium head covering instead of leaving his scalp weirdly exposed. He wouldn't have to worry about smashing through the glass himself. He's made of vibranium at that point. Sam uses Red Wing to scan the GRC hostages, and on the screen you can see her name, Ayla Perez. She's a background in the Philippine Air Force with experience flying both Apache and Chinook helicopters. Chinook helicopters are twin rotors. That tells Sam that Perez has experience with multiple types of helicopters and that he can trust her to climb into that seat and pull it out of a dive, even though that would probably be very difficult for anyone other than Tom Cruise to do. Sam saves the NYPD pilots, shielding one with his wings and the cap shield on top, showing how the Wakandans designed this to be
I really liked this scene because it did like show that he is still kind of Falcon-esque, but he is his own new Captain America also. Like he'll be able to have both.
a perfect interlocking vibranium seal. John Walker shows up with his cosplay shield, with
Yeah.
Medal of Honor welded on the inside. Yeah, notice how this shield has a lighter, more tinny sound than the deeper, mystical hum of the vibranium.
John.
As Bucky falls into the construction pit, he screams, echoing his scream as he fell from the train in the first Cap film. The
Oh,
scream
snap.
that inspired his Winter Soldier wail, which we have not heard on this show since his Wakandan campfire going clear moment. And since he is no longer haunted, Bucky now sticks the superhero landing.
Good
Oh, hey,
job,
by the way,
Bucky.
Our Anarchy Assembled shirt is still available, along with our amazing new Zemo design, though we are running
kinda
low
cool.
on supply for both of those, so you gotta move fast. You can support us this way at newrockstarsmerch.com. So Harley tries to murder hostages, putting Walker at this crossroads. Yeah, notice composer Henry Jackman brings back his theme from Civil War here to underline Walker's come-to-Jesus moment, choosing to save the hostages instead of seeking revenge on Carly. Though I should say after what he did in episodes 4 and 5, for John Walker, it's not really come to Jesus as it is Jesus actually pulling away his mesh face mask to reveal it's Mephisto underneath.
Not Mephisto.
But Walker's choice is emphasized by what he does let drop his cosplay shield. It's beaten and limp. But when the truck goes loose again, it's the true shield that lifts it, framing the shield like a rising sun, saving these lives. An inverse of the way John Walker framed it, eclipsing Nico and ending his life.
That was
Sam used
crazy.
drones for a boost similar to Iron Man's drones in Spider-Man Homecoming. Really, with this suit, Sam is truly a fusion of Captain America and Iron Man with the vibranium tech of Black Panther. An onlooker watches this calling him Black Falcon, like the kid in Baltimore in episode 2. Bucky catches a rebarb spear. I love how this dude catches pretty much everything hurled at him on this show. Walker with the shield on the truck, the knife in episode 4, the shield again in the fight last episode. Get this man a goalie mask. And then Sharon is revealed to be the power broker, a twist that seems both overly obvious but also pretty inconsistent with the character's past behavior and timeline. We go all into it in Inside Marvel. But hey, the good news is, according to this, Sharon Carter is now apparently the MCU's most brilliant mastermind who also makes things weirdly hard for herself. And if that's the
Like, I don't understand why everyone's saying that, because not necessarily she made it harder for herself. She gave Carly the super soldier serum, and then Carly went rogue and stole the rest of it. So if anything, Sharon was just covering her own tracks by getting rid of Carly, which I wish Carly could have survived and had a superhero redemption arc. I don't know, maybe she could have been turned into MCU's Captain Britain or something, because they do have a Captain Britain, and he is, in the comics, he is Matthew Broderick, I think, who is Elizabeth Broderick's brother. And Elizabeth is, of course, Psylocke from the X-Men. And then in newer comic runs, Psylocke is actually Captain Britain. So that's also pretty cool. So they could have totally retconned the MCU version to maybe start with Carly as Captain Britain, because she is a super soldier, and then just train her to be good and have her have a redemption arc. Because I really enjoyed the actress who played her, because she just had a unique look to her, and the way she played this character, you almost kind of wanted to root for her, like, almost. But then she did kill people and blow up innocents and stuff a little bit.
Sharon you love. Cool. Now, you could argue Sharon never explicitly declares herself the power broker.
That are super soldiers, how much power does a power broker really have?
More than you.
So you're the power broker.
She was always steps
But
ahead.
Sharon kills Batroc only because he threatens to expose her as the power broker to the world. As a woman behind the curtain, she needs anonymity. And if she wasn't the power broker here, she wouldn't care what Batroc told people. So Sam shows up to fight Carly, anchoring his wings in the concrete, similar to Spider-Man planting his extra arms while fighting Thanos. But Sam avoids fighting her. He does these flips and somersaults, the same ones that we saw him training with last episode. So I love looking back on that training as really defensive, conflict-avoiding training. Carly says,
Stay down!
No.
yeah, similar to Iron Man saying this to the previous Cap in Civil War.
Stay down. Final warning.
Yeah, shame that Sam here doesn't say do this all day, but I guess that's Walker quotes Abraham Lincoln.
Mercy bears richer fruit than strict justice.
Yeah, the president who oversaw the
That
US
guy.
Civil War.
I didn't like him.
Is learning the lessons that soldiers had to learn the hard way in their Civil War. So Carly dies in Sam's arms, holding the Hamsa pendant that she held.
She shouldn't have died. They could have locked her up in a little bit. She could have had a redemption story. She could have been some other superhero. Like, all the super soldiers were just kind of wasted. None of them became heroes or new villains or vigilantes or anti-heroes. They all just got powers and then got destroyed in one way or the other. Whether it was Captain America's John Walker smashing Nico in the face, or Carly being shot by Sharon, or the other ones being blown up in the truck. And it was just like, oh, come on, somebody should survive to become something. Like, it was right there. It could have been interesting storytelling. That's all I'm gonna say.
Held at Mama Danya's deathbed. And as Sam carries her body,
Mama
his
Danya.
outstretched wings evoke that of an angel delivering a soul to the afterlife. Well, really, John, I'm a Mephisto, because she's going to hell. I love how the reporters don't know what to make of Sam.
Captain Falcon.
Sam's big moves in this movie would be. So Sam lectures the GRC
Oh my god.
leaders to
That popped me.
telling them that they gotta do better.
And if I can do better and you can do better, maybe we all can do better. Hey, pretty great.
Really, even deeper than Sam's great points are the fact that we are seeing a black Captain America publicly speaking truth to power. It is a core
Yeah.
component to Cap's character that we saw when Steve debated Nick Fury in Captain America Winter Soldier, or stood up to Tony Stark in Civil War. And Bucky acknowledges this evolution.
Nice job, Cap.
Thanks.
Bucky pats the shield. He is both complimenting Sam by calling
Yay.
him Cap and patting the shield as a way of saying, nice job, Steve, for choosing this guy. And the last time we see Sam in this suit on this series, he soars across the frame with the shield briefly in close-up, gliding past us. Meanwhile, the rest of the Flag Smashers go, boom, you looking for this? Detonated by Osnick, Zemo's butler from episode 3. And this movie gets Zemo on the Raft prison from Civil War. He's wearing the same jumpsuits that they all wore then. On his shelf are a few books, Russian poet Alexander Pushkin, and Views of Nature by Alexander von Humboldt. I guess this is the Alexander shelf. Meanwhile, the book Zemo reads looks like the one he had in his cell in episode 3, Fortune is a River, which explores the friendship between Machiavelli and Leonardo da Vinci in Renaissance-era Florence, Italy.
Okay.
Now, I previously speculated that this book meant that the Machiavellian, Zemo, had a secret partnership with some Da Vinci figure in the shadows. Someone like...
Looks like our friend Zemo kind of got the last laugh.
Yes, Zemo's Da Vinci was De Fontaine. Since Osnick likely could not have arranged that bomb
That
himself,
is-
it is clear Val must have helped.
Couldn't have worked better than I planned it myself. Well, maybe I did. No, I'm kidding. I didn't. Or did I?
She totally
So the
did.
fact that Val has been in touch with Zemo, who's on the Raft, a facility overseen by Thunderbolt Ross, tells us that our theory that Val could be assembling a team of anti-heroes like the Thunderbolts or Dark Avengers may still be
Ooh.
happening. And by saying the Flag Smasher's deaths is gonna save a lot of paperwork, redacting, and shredding, tells us that she must be part of some shadowy government division as opposed to working for Hydra or something. But Val has suited up John Walker as U.S. Agent, the dark-suited assassin from the comics we expect of him to end up as. Interesting to note, U.S. Agent also leads the Dark Avengers later in the comics. And Val ends by saying,
Things are about to get weird. So when they do, we're not going to need a Captain America. We're going to need a U.S. agent.
weird. Well, one way to look at weird is that Val knows about the Skrull infiltration and that the secret invasion is coming. And in a world where no one trusts anyone, having an untrustworthy Dark Cap is more valuable. But Val also said last episode that the government's ownership of the SHIELD is a legal gray area, making me wonder if she knows about old Cap and how he brought that SHIELD from an alternate timeline, making it technically the property of an alternate timeline government. So maybe the weirdness she's referring to is the coming multiverse crisis, something that we could see more of with Loki in the TVA. Meanwhile, Bucky makes true amends with Mr. Nakajima and officially crosses Mr. Nakajima's name off the list, a list whose names that we had broken down in previous breakdowns, and he leaves that notebook as a gift for Dr. Rayner, leaving the frame with an empty couch and empty woods. Bucky is now out of the woods.
Hey.
Sam visits Isaiah Bradley again,
Black Captain America, huh? Damn right.
and right as Sam says this, behind him, Eli Bradley enters the frame. Eli is the future Young Avenger Patriot, another Black Cap figure, but for now, he's still waiting his turn in line behind Sam. Meanwhile, behind Isaiah during the scene is interesting graffiti, the words, "Why me?" reflecting how both of these men had the burden of Captain America's legacy thrust upon them. Now, Isaiah brings up Martin, Malcolm, and Mandela, of course referring to civil rights leaders Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and Nelson Mandela. But my favorite thing about this is this Atlanta neighborhood where they shot this scene is home to where Martin Luther King was born. The famous MLK house is visible at the end of the street.
Wow, that's cool.
So Sam brings Isaiah to his new addition to Cap's Smithsonian exhibit, including this plaque that details the history that Isaiah told him about, along with this old photograph. This shows Black World War II soldiers that actually inspired a panel in Truth, Red, White, and Black. I love how this bookends the shot that we saw back in episode 1, Sam's reflection as he stared at that shield in the display case. It was actually him realizing people who looked like him had been erased from this history, as Sam's translucent form in that scene suggested. But now, Sam has transformed this from an optical illusion to a tangible reality with this statue of Isaiah Bradley. And we we celebrate with a family cookout, a reminder that fixing the Wilson family boat has always been a personal metaphor for Sam for restoring the legacy of the Shield, which he has done. As Curtis Harding's On and On plays, the final credit revises the series title to Captain America.
I thought that part was so
Then we get to this
cool.
post-credit scene with Sharon receiving a full pardon to return to her old rank as Agent 13.
The Carter name has always been synonymous with service and trust. Welcome home, Agent Carter.
2 references there to Peggy Carter, Sharon's great aunt, who will show up in What If, and hopefully a future film with Steve Rogers in that alternate timeline. It was actually announced that a 4th Captain America film is in development from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier showrunner Malcolm Spellman, but that's probably going to follow Sam Wilson, not the Chris Evans Steve Rogers Cap films that may or may not be in development. And we end on another power broker tease from Sharon Carter talking to someone on the phone, maybe one of her Madripoor operatives, or some other criminal group from the Marvel world. Hydra, 10 Rings, Hammer, AIM, Oscorp. Whoever this is, it's most likely setting up Sharon to return in the series Armor Wars, which Rhodey is going to star in this miniseries about the weaponry of the MCU leading in the wrong hands.
That's gonna be
My
cool.
favorite detail about Sharon's final moments. As she exits the courtroom, the camera suddenly slows down, and she looks directly at camera. It is as if she knows how much her power broker reveal broke us. I gotta hand it to you, Agent Carter. I had my doubts, but it was you all along. Hey, I want to thank everyone so much for supporting us throughout this breakdown series. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at EABoss, follow New Rockstars, and subscribe to New Rockstars for breakdowns of this, other Marvel stuff, Loki, really anything that will break my heart by Ralph Boner in my theories.
Boner.
Bye!
Okay. Okay, we're back. So I don't necessarily think that Agent Carter is going to be a Skrull. I think she's just a classic good girl has gone bad. Like, she became a fugitive way back in Captain America's Civil War when she stole the wings and the shield to give to Sam and Steve. So that was a long time before even like Infinity War or Endgame, and my belief is that they said she did not blip away for the 5 years, so she's been a fugitive all this time. And you have to think, when the country you love or whatever, like, basically turns their back on you, and then this global universal crisis happens, and they still don't even like call or check in on you. Like, you have to think that's gonna like jade you. So I can totally see why she went bad and became the power broker. And my theory is possibly there was a different power broker and she took him out and became the power broker. So that way she could get hold of the super soldier serum and she could start her empire and living a life of her luxury that she wouldn't have been able to in America because she was dutiful and just and doing the right thing and things of that nature. Let's see if there's any other little... Let's go to Screen Crush. They're pretty good.
This box is day-worthy. This box is called Forge.
Aged concentrate.
Not the commercials.
Screen Crush Break Room, I'm Ryan Airy, and this is all of the Easter eggs, references, and little things that you might have missed in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier's.
Let's see what they have to say.
Today is a special day. That's right, today's my birthday, and this episode was
happy
a sweet
birthday to him.
Gift. Thanks, Kevin. The episode begins with the GRC under siege, and Sharon Carter shows up wearing an electronic face mask. We first saw this used by Black Widow and Winter Soldier, but it became a major story device in the show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The title of the episode is One World, One People, which of course is the motto of the Flag Smashers.
For we are, after all, simply one world and one people.
All season long, we've been watching the show and thinking, well, their goal seems noble, a world without borders. But as Sam points out, that's not their goal, it's their means.
What if I'm making the world a better place?
It's not a better place if you're killing people, it's just different.
And the episode ends with Sam accomplishing Carly's goal through mediation.
You people have just as much power as an insane god or a misguided teenager. The question you have to ask yourself is, how are you going to use it?
So now let's talk about that suit because it is awesome. I love how it combines aspects of several of the other Cap suits.
It's
The
so
combat
great.
fatigues pants from the World War II suit. The bright stripes harken back to the suit in the Avengers, and the stars and stripes in the center are modeled after his Winter Soldier suit. And actually, that suit was very similar to the one that Steve wore in the comics while Sam was Captain America. This is also fitting because the first villain we saw Steve fight in that suit was Batroc the Leaper, the first villain that Sam fights as the new Cap.
Well,
And
look
Sam's
at that.
whole costume is modeled very closely after his suit from the comics, and it's great. And also, Sam's new wings deflect a whole frickin' helicopter, which tells me that, like T'Challa, Shuri must have made him a suit of vibranium. This line
Captain America was on the moon.
is a callback to episode 1.
Why is that the theory?
I think that he's in the secret base on the moon.
Bucky says,
You don't think I ever fought for something bigger than myself? That's all I ever tried to do. And I failed twice.
he's referencing World War II and the Infinity War. And I never really thought about that. He's 0-2 on world saving. Walker shows up with this adorable little super special shield that he made all by himself. Notice that he welded his medals of honor to the back of the shield so he could always look at them. You could see this as a reminder of the country that turned its back on him because he's so full of hate. But I think it's actually his way of reminding himself of why he is doing this. Remember why he got the medal to begin with.
He's an anti-hero at best.
And the reason he took the serum. I'd have to go back and check the records, but I think this is the first time that Bucky gets to help people instead of just hurting them. He's following Sam's advice.
But you gotta make them feel better. You gotta go to them and be of service.
Now, at some moments when Walker seems like he's on the edge of a breakdown, there's an eerie drone in the score.
2 times the sudsing
Oh
power.
my God.
It's 2 times the delight. New game. Seriously clean dishes, seriously good scent.
Do your dishes, guys.
Which sounds like the beginning of the Winter Soldier.
How's this sound?
Like Walker is on a dark
Okay.
path that leads into becoming a pure killing machine. Walker running into the battle in a rage is pretty much his origin story in the comics. As the hero Patriot, he was a media celebrity, just like his early days as Cap. Then, after becoming Cap, his parents were murdered, sending him off on a murder spree,
Oh, shit.
which causes the government to take away his shield. He says,
You don't think Lamar's life matters?
a nod to the Black Lives Matter movement. In the comics, Walker is not a full-on villain. He's more of an anti-hero, and he's kind of settled into that role here. He has to
I
choose
knew it.
between saving people and revenge, and he chooses to help. When this happens, his theme, earlier presented in a minor key, is switched to a major key, symbolizing him
It's more
embracing the
heroic.
hero role. This line is a callback to episode 2.
Black Falcon.
This is also what Sam is facing in his new role as Captain America. Like many other people of color, society sees his race first and not the man. His struggle is to now be accepted as Captain America, not simply the black Captain America. Then we get the reveal that Sharon is the power broker,
Which I admit is both bogus and sad.
because it was obvious. It's the twist that everybody guessed that should have been to throw us off the trail of robot body Arnim Zola. Actually, Doug had a thought on that twist. Doug?
Well, Sharon never says that she is the power broker. I think the real power broker is Lucky the pizza dog from the Hawkeye show. I want to see the pizza dog.
But whatever, big twist. Let me know what you thought down
Look
in the
at
comments
that
or at me
dog.
on Twitter. You know, interacting with all of you on social media is one of my favorite parts of this job. People are always sending me their own fan theories and telling me they'd like to start making their own video essays. So if you would like to take your first step into this larger world, I recommend Wondershare Filmora 10, the sponsor of this week's video. Filmora is great for experienced and beginner editors. To make your video look professional, Filmora team will pick a lucky winner from each to compensate for his lack of powers.
Okay, there we
like
go.
using his wings as a brace. And hey, all those montage flips paid off.
Oh my God.
The new pepperoni pizza meatball sub. Only at Firehouse Subs.
Stop it.
Bucky and Walker are able to intercept the Flag Smashers by using the app on the phone that Carly gave Bucky to begin with, so she could monologue at him. Not a great line. Social media is toxic, y'all. Read a book. During Sam and Carly's final battle, at one point, both the shield and a gun are dropped. Now, Carly has a moment where she could choose which one to grab, and she chooses the gun. This is actually her whole character in one scene. She's an inspirational character with noble goals. In another life, she could have been Captain America.
I didn't think there could be another Captain America until I met you.
But instead, She chose violence. Now, it's hard to see, but when she dies, she's holding a Hamsa with the world in the middle. This belonged to Mama Danya. By the way, a guy emailed me and said that her name, Danya Madani, has a hidden meaning. Danya means world in Persian, and Madani means citizen in Arabic, so Danya Madani means global citizen. And the guy who emailed me was named Jack Human, which is definitely the name an alien would call himself if he wanted to email me Falcon and Winter Soldier Easter eggs from space. So,
He's a
thanks for the tip,
scroll.
Jack Human, but I shan't be giving you access to any nuclear codes. This symbol is actually a Hamsa, a symbol
Totally
that
a
holds religious
scroll.
significance for Christians, Muslims, and Jews. Like the Flag Smashers, it transcends borders and cultural identity and serves as the inspiration for their logo. Now, Sam, in the end, achieves Carly's goal peacefully. During his final monologue, he says, "Thug," and this word is often used in right-wing media to describe black men, especially black athletes. Now, I like that Sam's big coming out as Captain America ends with him mediating, like we first saw him do in Winter Soldier. The show has been building to this all season long.
People are lost. They need a leader who looks like them.
Sam's greatest gift here isn't flight or the shield, it's his empathy. His ultimate point is that you have to let marginalized people in the room where it happens. During his speech, he references Thanos and the events of Infinity War.
And face a force so powerful it could erase half the planet. You people have just as much power as an insane god.
And he's right. World events like this should unite the world, not divide it. Also, way to fend off the trolls.
Every time I pick this thing up, I know there are millions of people out there who are going to hate me for it.
Political stance is exactly what he does in the comics after becoming Cap. Isaiah is watching on WHIH, the in-universe news channel that was first seen creating social media tie-ins for the movie Ant-Man. Also watching is Joaquin while he's repairing the wings.
He becomes the
Foreshadowing that
Phoenix.
He'll become the new Falcon, just
Or
like in the
Falcon.
comics. The remaining super soldiers are killed by Zemo's butler, while he rests comfortably in the Raft, the prison for superfolk that we first saw in Civil War. Now, we have a whole video coming out about what's next for Zemo. Subscribe and click the bell for that one. It's really good. You're going to love it. Now, next we see Val in the Senate Hall. Last night I pointed out that this character in the comics starts off as a femme fatale foil for Fury, but later becomes the villain Madam Hydra. Now here, it seems like she's working for some Black Ops branch of the government, as symbolized by her card.
There's nothing on it.
Madam
My theory
Hydra.
is she's working with Thunderbolt Ross to assemble a Black Ops Avengers team made up mostly of villains, similar to the Thunderbolts, the Dark Avengers, and the Secret Warriors. David Gallagher on Twitter pointed out to me that calling her Val seems to be making her an amalgam with Val Cooper, who worked with U.S. Agent, who worked with Walker for years as part of the Commission on Superhuman Affairs. Walker's black suit and lame name,
A U.S. agent.
are straight from the comics. It's an appropriate color choice since he only sees the world in black and white with none of Sam's nuance. Walker's last line, is the same as his return in the comics in Captain America 354. Thanks David Gallagher for that one. When Bucky tells the old man about his son, his coat is Bucky Blue, the same color his character wore in the comics, symbolizing his journey coming full circle as he finally puts the life of the Winter Soldier behind him. And he pulls a Goodwill Hunting, leaving a note for his therapist instead of actually finishing therapy. Kinda crappy. Steve left some really good pop culture in that book for him. So let's go through a few of these names, most of which we saw in episode 1. Andrei Rostov in the comics is the Soviet villain the Red Guardian, and he was Bucky's warden when the Russians imprisoned him in a gulag.
Whoa.
This is when Bucky was making amends in the comics, just like he's doing now in the MCU. P.W. Hauser was the actor who starred alongside Sebastian Stan in I, Tonya. H. Zemo for Helmet Zemo. And Kuznetsov was a Soviet scientist who invented a robot called Udarnik. There's also S. Whitaker for legendary comics inker Steve Whitaker. C. Collins is a reference to your mom, and the name Hudson here could be a reference to James Hudson, leader of the
Alpha
Canadian
Flight.
super
Oh,
team Alpha
snap.
Flight.
Alpha Flight.
It's a Canadian marriage. It's like their money or their army. Nobody takes it seriously.
Back at Isaiah's house, he references
Malcolm, Martin, Mandela.
the prominent civil rights leaders Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and Nelson Mandela. When Sam gives his speech, Isaiah's grandson Elijah is hovering in the background.
Young
In the comics,
Avengers.
Elijah becomes the hero of Patriots and leads the Young Avengers, something they're clearly leading up to in the MCU. Now, when they go through the exhibit, we saw a little more of it than we did in the premiere. This shot is from the newsreel where Steve looks at his Peggy Carter compass. The Shatter Day is also new to symbolize the Avengers breaking up.
Broke up.
Oh,
Like a
no.
band? Like the Beatles?
This is also very similar to the marketing logo that Marvel used during Endgame. This scene really got to me. And old men crying, I just can't take it.
I
It
totally
parallels the
cried
end of
too.
Isaiah's story in The Truth, Red, White, and Black. When Steve Rogers finally meets Isaiah and sees that he's been honored secretly in the black community for years. This overhead shot of black soldiers is a vintage photograph from World War II. It served as an inspiration for this panel from Truth, Red, White, and Black. The plaque reads that the soldiers were experimenting on against their will, and the government covered it up. Now, this not only means that Isaiah is in the history books, but he doesn't have to worry about the government keeping him quiet anymore. And of course, the series is rebranded with a new title at the end. The post-credit scene is
You'd
Sharon
love to
Dean
see
Parton
it.
and going back to work at the CIA so she can sell state secrets. I really hope she's like a Skrull or something, because otherwise this was a very obvious choice, but it is a fun place to take her character. The senator says,
The Carter name has always been synonymous with service.
a reference to Peggy Carter's work in
Peggy.
the war and as a founder of S.H.I.E.L.D. I do like that now that the world is upside down, good is bad, and Carter is evil. We've also seen Wanda using the Darkhold, possibly hinting at her becoming evil. All of this seems like a setup for the Dark Avengers in the comics when Norman Osborn disguised villains as heroes. Now, who do you think Sharon was on the phone with? Is she rebuilding Hydra, or just kind of doing her own thing? My guess is that we'll see her again in the show Armor Wars. These comics were about Tony Stark fighting to make sure his technology didn't fall into the hands of his enemies. Overall, I like the series a lot, but I think it would have benefited from a few more episodes. All the various
I
plot
definitely
threads could be
agree with
explored a
that.
little deeper. Walker seems like he snapped immediately, didn't get much build-up, but mostly there was a lot of tell and not show. We don't ever see refugees being marched around by troops, we just hear about it. We don't see people starving, we just hear about it. I get the feeling that the pandemic affected some of this. There's rumors there was a whole storyline about a plague that they cut because it was too similar to what's going on in real life. But overall, it was a terrific series with great action, and if all the Marvel shows are going to be this good, we have a lot to look forward to.
Well, that's all the Easter eggs that we found, but if you found any, let me know in the comments below or at me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe. For Screen Crush, I'm Ryan Airy.
Okay. I think I like that one a little bit better than the other one. But yeah, I do think they are setting up the Young Avengers pretty quickly because they have Elijah now for Patriot. They have Cassie Lang, which is Ant-Man's daughter, for Stature, and she'll have growing and shrinking powers. They have Kate Bishop for the next Hawkeye, and that's going to be a show coming soon too. So it's just like they're setting up a lot of stuff with these Disney Plus shows. It's going to be really, really entertaining. So, and that's about it for today. So make sure you follow and keep up to date. I will be back on Wednesday for Wrestling Wednesday. I'm going to hopefully have some Polly and Cult Party 3 matches to show, because it was really great. I really, really hope they say I can show some. And I gotta find them too, so that gives me a little bit of time. So until next time, love, light, and fairy might. I'm gonna do a raid now. Hold on, let me raid. Or is it the other way? Okay.
One 31 form.